This just in. The folks at Dungeons & Dragons just published this adventure PDF, Peril in Pinebrook. It's an undeniably great resource for beginners, so I'm going to break down what makes it so good and recommend one similarly awesome indie RPG to go along with it. Because I'm Bob, this is where we learn how to have more fun playing RPGs together, and if you'd like to follow along, this free PDF is linked down in the description. The first thing you'll notice is the amazing cover art, but the second thing you'll notice is that this PDF is laggy as heck. Yeah, my only real complaint is that this 22-page document has a slightly larger file size than my 500-page PDF of the Dungeon Crawl Classics core rulebook, and even that one scrolls perfectly compared to this obnoxiously slow document. So it would be brilliant if they published a printer-friendly version, but besides that, it does look fantastic. They packed in a lot of art, and it's mostly awesome dragons, which is surprisingly rare for official D&D content. Again, the whole thing is only 22 pages, so it's very easy to read and understand in like less than an hour, and I think that applies even if you're a brand new GM, because they summarize and explain the core rules extremely well here. It's actually written for educators to learn the game and then during gameplay teach their students how to play. So it revisits the basics a few times throughout the whole doc, familiarizing the reader with these concepts very quickly. And yeah, even though it's made for students, I honestly think this is a fun little adventure no matter how old you are. The adventure says it takes about an hour to play, and it's divided into 10-minute long encounters, which is a really helpful design element for GMs of any level to pace their game better. I love that. And finally, the PDF includes simplified D&D character sheets already filled out for 4 players, and it says the only other materials you need besides this PDF are 1 20-sided die, 1 6-sided die, and materials for the players to take notes if they want to. However, it says of course that if you don't have any dice, you can use online digital dice instead, and if you have more than 4 players, you can have multiple players use copies of the same character sheet, just make up a different name and different description to make them unique. The rules walkthrough concisely explains that D&D and other RPGs are mostly a conversation between one player as the game master and the other players as heroic characters, where the GM presents a scene, asks the players what their characters do, then decides whether or not they'll need to roll for the outcome of that action by rolling the d20, such that in less than 5 pages, this PDF gets a brand new player from 0 knowledge to running their first game. And that deserves some praise. And I'm not going to go into detail about the whole adventure, but I will summarize it here, so if you're going to participate in this adventure as a player, skip to the time I've listed here on the screen to avoid any spoilers. Here we go. Encounter 0. The player characters are villagers from Pinebrook, where there have been rumors of a friendly silver dragon layering in the mountains and ice trolls on the move in the forest. So villagers are taking turns patrolling the forest with our de facto quest giver, Captain Emma Cole. Excellent NPC name. It's your character's turn to patrol the forest today, so she asks everyone to introduce themselves, providing the perfect introduction for some roleplay. Encounter 1 starts with an inconsequential perception check because no matter what happens, the party finds a baby silver dragon. Then Cole instructs the party to find it some food and return the dragon to its mother's lair up the mountain. And she gives the party a cool handout with some translated words in Draconic, which is important for later. Encounter 2. The party finds a cave and fights some living icicles. Just look at that beautifully minimal stat block, and if it couldn't get any better, this intro to D&D thankfully does not bother to teach anyone about initiative for combat. It says to just let the characters go first, clockwise around the table, and then GM runs all the monsters when it gets back to them. That's basically how I've been playing for the last year or so, and I like it so much better than pausing the game and recording an ordered list of turns for every single creature and every single combat. I'm probably due for a new video about how I do initiative, but I digress. Encounter 3. They face some icy obstacles in the cave, including a sort of puzzle where they use the handout to decode some draconic words, get some free healing, and another amazing point here is that this PDF never mentions darkvision, even for the dwarf and elf characters. Rather, it says that characters need to use torches to explore this cave. You heard right, folks. This is a D&D 5e adventure with an actually dark dungeon and dragons. That combo never ever happens in this game, I'm amazed. Encounter 4 and conclusion, party fights some creepy monsters called Egg Snatchers. 2 strange creatures the size of horses. They have bodies like frogs, but their skin is pure white and have mouths full of sharp teeth. Then Mama Dragon returns for a fun roleplay opportunity and ultimately rewards the PCs with 1 little diamond each and permission to raise the baby dragon among people in the town of Pinebrook. Loot does not get any better than a baby dragon. That is so fun. So the basic rules and the adventure are packed into the first 13 pages of this PDF. And then there's the handout, the credits, an ad for a kid-friendly book about dragon lore, which I actually just saw in my friendly local game store, and it seemed kinda cool, and the character sheets, which are extremely minimal. But like everything else in this PDF, they get the job done. A new part of my ever-changing philosophy on RPGs is that I like it when there's not actually that much game standing between me and my friends. And this adventure not only hits that mark, but it hits that mark for brand new game masters and players without costing a single cent and without requiring creators like me to produce video tutorials correcting a bunch of mistakes and making it actually easy to follow, like I've done for the new D&D starter set and the D&D Essentials kit. Links up in the corner of your screen if you would like some help with those. But if you don't already have one of those box sets, I think your next step after this free beginner D&D adventure is the similarly free, beginner-friendly, well-produced, D20-based fantasy RPG quick start set for Shadowdark RPG. Costume change. Now, this whole game definitely deserves its own whole video, so I just want to quickly summarize why I think Shadowdark's Quick Start set is the best package deal on the market right now, whether you're brand new to RPGs or you just want to spice up your D&D campaign. So for $0 and 0 cents on DriveThruRPG, affiliate link below, you can get the Shadowdark Quick Start Player Guide plus the GM Guide, which includes a beginner dungeon adventure and 8 pre-made character sheets. You'll notice right away that these PDFs scroll as smoothly as any PDF should, but more than that, the layout of the black and white, large font text in tiny paragraphs on digest-sized pages of concise and well-organized information all means that even at 68 pages each for these 2 free guides, you can rapidly scan through them and learn everything you need to know. And if you have played D&D, it will be pretty darn familiar to you already. Because in my simple and crude comparison, I would say that Shadowdark is basically D&D, but no characters have dark vision. So you need torches, and a torch only lasts 1 hour of real time, out of game. And that single but major distinguishing mechanic automatically makes Shadowdark a lot more tense and thrilling than the average D&D 5e session, where every character is basically wearing a built-in set of night vision goggles. So the Quick Start set gives you rules for creating your own characters and simpler rules than D&D for tracking equipment, movement, and spellcasting. You get tons of GM tips and tables and monsters, all to help you run an awesome game, whether you're using the starter adventure it includes or writing your own. And once again, it's all free, and it's still more rules than you really need to have a great time playing a fantasy RPG. So if you want to know the truth about the only materials you need to run a fun game, check out this video on your screen, then please give this one a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and check out my Patreon page where you can get more easy-to-run 5e one-shot adventures that are basically compatible with whatever D&D-like RPG you're playing. Thanks for your support, and keep building.